Okay, it looks like we are 24, we are 29 exposures in on M31. You can see up here you see M32. Can't really see M32 in here, but looks like M10 is visible over here. I believe that is. I think I'm right on that. So there is a lot of you can see a lot of let me get out of this. See, there's just a boatload of Starlinks coming through here. And you can see there was one that was going right through the center of Andromeda, but it's fading away. There's another one. Just watching them just blow by. I've had three just come really, really close to getting into the exposure, but you can see as more and more pictures are stacked here in the mosaic that the the Starlink that went right through the center, but starting to disappear now. But you can watch on here in Solarium if you have the satellites on. Oh, there we got a fail to stack. That's the first stack failure so far. But you can look through here and just watch what my bandwidth holds out here. I'm on Starlink internet, so looks like my Stellarium's kind of stalled out on me here. Okay, there we go. But you can just see these Starlinks just fly by. That's the ones that fly by are probably the very ones that I'm using the internet to actually broadcast this on, which is kind of cool. There's another stack fail, so that's two now I've gotten in and what is that? That's 36 exposures. So I've had 36 out of 38 successful and two fail so far. And it looks like the pattern for the mosaic is still, you can see right here, there's a second one. So the first one was, I think, this one, and the second one's going out to there. So far, just two stack failures in 5 minutes. Oh, speak of the devil, just got another one. So there's another one. That's three. So that's what? That's 36, 36 out of 34 out of 36. Is that what that is? Succeeded. Here comes another Starlink. Let's see if that one gets close enough in the exposure to pick up. I think it's going to be too wide, too far out to get in there. There's another one right behind it. Yeah, so early on we had this one just go right through the center, but the rest are over here. I'm trying to look ahead and see if there's another one to anticipate coming right through the middle of it. There's another Starlink. Another one. Look at them all. There's four of them right now in that vicinity. Just gonna let it go. We are what are we? 10, 6, 30. Is it my math right there? That's 30. My math's wrong. So it's 34 right now. 34 exposures. And I think we've had three failures at this point. Oh, here's one coming. Looks like is that gonna intersect? Nope. It's gonna be out of the range of the mosaic here. At least when the mosaic's done, I've got it coming way out into here. So it's just not there yet, so it won't pick it up. So we're now at 6 minutes. So that would be what, 36 exposures of 10 seconds each? Yeah, I wish I could have the my iPad display here so that I could screen share that onto my restream here, but I can't do that. I could, but I'd have to pay for iTunes or some third-party app to actually broadcast it from the iPad. So I'm doing it right now from my Samsung 23G right now. Yeah, we're I'm not sure how it works. I'm simulcasting on YouTube and on TikTok both, but I don't know how I don't think I've set up the feed right to have chat come through for TikTok. It's just for YouTube coming through right now. Let me play with that for a second, see if I can get that. I think it's going to screw up if I try to mess with it, so I got to be careful. Yeah, yeah, I don't know. I'm a little leery to mess with it, so I'm going to leave it as is. So we are now up to, looks like we had four more exposures come in. You can really tell when you're out, I'm in Bortle 4. Bortle 4. It shows that it's Bortle 4 here, but I believe this would be up north, right from where I'm taking the picture, because this is Andromeda is really climbing up in the north here right now, right? So between north and east, it's way up here. How many degrees is that up? That's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 degrees up. So I mean, it's getting way up there. So the scope has, you can tell how the scope's aimed. It's that high in the sky. So this is aimed towards north of me, and north of me, there's a town of about 10,000 or 12,000 people that's about 15 miles away. So there is a little bit of sky that way. So it is Bortle 4. But anything to the south, if I go here and I go into the south and all this stuff, like Saturn and all this stuff, this is going to be like Bortle 3 because the skies are so dark here at that in that direction. Because there's the nearest city south of me would be Memphis, Tennessee, of any size. That's 200 miles away. To the west, the nearest city of any size, gosh, 5,000 population is about 40 miles away, and then St. Louis is about an hour and a half. So west and south are beautiful skies here, and they're Bortle 3 at the very least. So as I go here, let's go back to the Andromeda. I'm really curious to try to pick up another Starlink here as it comes through. There's 3 of them. Looks like they're inbound right now. Looks like my Stellarium's stalled on me here for a moment. My whole display is stalled here. So I'm kind of hostage to the Starlink upload here that's kind of affecting that. You may not even be hearing me clearly right now. There we go. It came back. That's my Starlink upload. It stalls once in a while. I'm trying to upload an awful lot on Starlink, and I'm so far rural. I've only got about, I think, uh, like 8 millibytes per second on the upload. I've got like 150 down, but very little up. I was trying to catch another Starlink coming through here because I've had several come through. You can see the remnants, the ghost of one there and one right there, but they're starting to fade out as more and more of the mosaic stacks up here. Here's one. This one may do it. Let's watch it and see if we appear, if it gets an exposure of it. So this is oriented differently than the sky, than Stellarium, but that's coming right through. I'll be curious if that pops in there at all with an exposure here. Let's see what it does. It's definitely coming through the edge of it. Let's see if it catches it on this exposure. And I don't know how much delay there is on what Stellarium's showing versus what really happens. Looks like we had 850 and exposure just hit. I think it may just be out of the view just a little bit from where the mosaic is actually doing its work right now. So I didn't catch that. That was a Jason. That wasn't a Starlink, was it? Yeah, that wasn't a Starlink satellite at all. That was a Jason. That's a NORAD. That's a weather one. That's a U.S. weather satellite, it looks like. And I don't see any other coming inbound here at the moment. But yeah, you can see the real core of the Andromeda, and already just this short of time period in, we're 54 exposures in of 10 seconds each. Oh, here comes one. Watch this one. That's definitely a Starlink. Let's see what it does in the exposure. Will it catch it? It's not going to catch it. It's going to get by. You can see how that's circling up there. Yeah, it's not going to catch that one. It's got to do it just right. It's not going to catch that one. And there was my upload again. You're probably not hearing me now. You kind of see, you caught it right there, that Starlink that came through. We got it. I sound excited about catching Starlinks in the image, but it kind of sucks. It's going to take a lot to wash them out because I'm not saving the individual images tonight. I'm just letting Starlink or SeeStar do all the work. But we're catching a lot of Starlink here tonight. It's crazy. Let's see if we get any more inbound here. Every time I try to click and drag on the Sky Atlas, it seems to stall out my upload. So I'm going to try to limit the amount I do that. And I think it breaks up the whole live here. There's a Cosmos. That looks like, is that a Russian satellite there? What is that? No, it's another NORAD. So that's another defense satellite. Is that what that is? If it's NORAD. So we are now 64 images in. So you can kind of see the mosaic here. You can kind of see what's going on there. There's one, there's two, there's three. So it's going out this direction. Trying to watch for another Starlink come through here. Yeah, I have got a Anchor battery. It's a phone charger battery. We are now 66, 69. We're now 69 exposures in. Here comes another Cosmos. I don't think we're going to catch that one in the exposure here. It'll be interesting to see how many exposures it takes to make that wash out and kind of trade out pictures. That one's almost completely gone now, and that one's almost completely gone. So we've had 3 satellites come right through the exposure area here tonight so far in the first, half hour of doing this. A lot of satellite activity here. Yeah, I've got my lights off down. I'm down in my basement and the SeeStar's outside. If I turn my camera on, it might jack things up, but I can try. Up. If I leave the camera on, it's going to screw things up, so I'm going to keep the camera off on my live stream. Okay, we are now, looks like 73 pictures in, exposures in, 10-second exposures, holding 10 seconds. Yeah, I've got 2 conversations going on here. I've got TikTok going and I've got YouTube going. Unfortunately, the chat is only YouTube though. And we are waiting on another Starlink to come floating through here. Oh, here comes one. Look at that little bugger just flying through there. Where'd it go? I thought there was a Starlink there. Where'd it go? There it is. That one's going to be way out of the range for the mosaic. Oh, I was kind of playing around with the settings there. I've never really used Restream much. So I'm trying to figure out how it works here. So the chat's there now, but I think I'm gonna leave that out so you can see more of the actual screen. Yeah, so we're first on Andromeda tonight. Yeah, that damn upload, but also, yeah, just look at them shooting through there. I've had 3 go through here. There's this one's almost gone now, that one's almost gone, but that one just came through about 3 exposures ago. We've got almost perfect skies out here tonight. I am, let me see if I can show where I'm at. Um, oh, come on. I am right in Illinois. See, this one's just not accurate for what it's saying where I'm at. I know it's not. I'm, like, down in here, which I don't know what Bortle says that is. Let's get out of here. That's the light pollution map. Let's go to a Bortle sky here. The Astro Backyard guy has a good one. Um, oh, you're shooting the North American. I was doing that last night. Uh, I was doing the North American Nebula last night, and it started to get cloudy here, so I couldn't get it. Are you doing it? Is the filter working really good on that? I think that's a filter roll one, isn't it, to make it pull everything out? Oops. Let's get that going here. Get that out of there. Excuse me. Get back here. Yeah, I was going to do the North American Nebula tonight. I tried that last night, and I decided to go back and try to play with, like everybody else's, play with Andromeda a little bit. Yeah, yeah, I got it. I forgot. I didn't catch what you were saying there at first. Yeah, being on Starlink. Yay, Elon. It works great, but that upload just kind of sucks sometimes. But I couldn't be on here at all without Starlink. So this crap going through my pictures, my exposures, I'd live with it because I couldn't have internet at all if it wasn't off these Starlink satellites. Literally out here, your only option's really Pioneer. I think it's what the hell is it called? Frontier, and Frontier just sucks. I haven't really posted to the community yet on the app. I've thought about it. I just haven't gotten around to doing that. I've looked at a lot of stuff folks post out there, but I haven't done anything. Is there advantages to doing that, or is it just sharing what you're doing to the community? So I can catch another one of these. I'm really kind of interested to see the delay on Stellarium when it shows a satellite come through versus when if it shows up on here and what time. If there's a delay between the two. So how real time is this? That's what I'm kind of interested in watching here. I don't see any. Oh, nope, I don't see any coming in. And get rid of that stupid email down there. It's kind of probably irritating to see that. Yeah, I'm locked up now. Let me get rid of that. All right, get out of there, get out of there, get back to the chat. Pretty much sharing the community and see what everyone else comes up with. You probably got a lot around you in Florida there, I'm guessing. There are some around here. I'll look you up. Um, there's like two other people within maybe 100 miles or 75 miles that have a SeeStar where I live. And I've looked at a few other things, but maybe I'll start posting out to it and just see what, just to contribute out there. So I'm interested in trying. I really want to see a few more Starlink fly through here to see the timing. Okay, look at this one. That's going to be a little south of where we're at, though. And what is that? That's a NORAD again. I don't know. Do you know, Scott, by chance? Are those satellites? It's a NORAD, OneWeb 23. Is that a defense satellite? Is it like Air Force? Or is that weather? I don't know what that would be. I don't know enough about the satellites, which types they are. But it's definitely, at least it says it, a NORAD. I guess you'd have to look it up. You probably find more information on it. I haven't seen any more stack failures here in a little bit, so I think I'm still looking pretty good here. What is that? Yeah, I don't know. I'd be curious on the satellite. So what am I at? At 1750, that's 60 and 42, 102, 107 exposures. Is my math right there? And I've only had 3 stack failures so far. I don't know if that's about average or not. For as high in the sky as it is, I don't know if that makes a difference or not. Oh, there's a star. No, there's another one racing by. My mosaic's far enough out, it would pick that one up if it was way over in here, I think it would be, right? It'd have to be way over on this side, and it would be getting that one that just went by. It's interesting that one's not really fading out, so I wonder if the mosaic's not really stacking somewhere else. I don't, it'd be interesting to know, or is there a way to find out where it's currently, like a light overlay to show you where that current mosaic's at? It'd be kind of cool to see, so you'd see the pattern of the mosaic and how it does its work. I'd play some background music, but I'm afraid YouTube would give me a copyright strike. So I've got Spotify here on another computer, but I'm afraid if I turn it on, it'll pick it up and give me some sort of issue on the copyright issue. All right. No more inbound here. Boy, I feel like I'm really important here. All these screens up. It's like I'm working for NASA or something instead of sitting in my basement in Illinois like some kind of a nerd. But this is cool. This is cool as hell that you can do this. There's a excuse me. There's a few people on here. I wonder where all from. I know Scott, you're in Tampa area. I wonder who the other folks are, where they're at. And I'm not sure. I'm doing from Restream. You can send out to multiple different social media platforms simultaneously. So I don't know if the count's 8 right now. I don't know if that means some of the if that's all YouTube or if that's TikTok too. I'm not sure. I haven't got TikTok pulled up. Oh, here comes a star. Oh, I don't know what that one is. It's another NORAD. Here we go. That would be way over in here, right? If it picked that up, it'd be way over here. See if it gets into that exposure or part of it here. It's probably too far out of the way. It's probably way over here out of the way, so it's not going to pick it up. There's a new band or a new block of the mosaic just appeared. So we're 20 minutes in. That's 120, right? Or 121 now. And I think I've only had 3 stack fails so far. That's a pretty good percent. When I was doing the Pleiades last night, early in the morning, boy, I was getting probably, I don't know, 40% stack fails. It seemed like every other one was failing, and I don't know why it was. Part of it was I know it was intermittent clouds. I can relate to that, man. That's pretty. In the middle of the summer, I'd sit outside and have a campfire because I live out in the country, and I'd have a fire going and have the SeeStar a little bit away, and I just sit there in a Adirondack chair and watch it do its thing. Hey, G-Force. That's right. I remember you're in Green Bay there. Where'd you pick your meet up at? I wonder where that's at. You bought it from somebody, I'm assuming on cloudy nights, maybe? Yeah, I'm gonna be sitting inside a lot as it gets into the winter time here. I don't mind going outside. I really like it, but when it gets to be 10 degrees, I'm not gonna be sitting outside with a SeeStar. It's gonna be sitting there all by its lonesome. I'm really curious. I'm gonna have that Anchor battery I've got attached to it. I'm still at 100%. I've been on this nearly an hour, I'm guessing, or 45 minutes, and I'm curious if it's gonna hold 100% all night there. Yeah, the Cross City, I call it. I'm about 15 miles away from there. Yeah, the big old cross, right? Yeah, so I live if you drive through Effingham, actually, but Effingburg's fine with me. I'm south of there and west of there about 15 miles. So you can imagine if you drove through, it's pretty dark skies. There's really no big cities anywhere around. But I think I mentioned to you the other day, I lived during COVID, my wife and we consult with hospitals. So we were up in Appleton in the Fox Valley there. I went down to Centralia. Yeah, yeah, very cool. Yeah, I've sold things through Cloudy Nights, but I haven't bought anything through Cloudy Nights. I have got I have got a Meade planetary camera that I bought, and it's been sitting in my unfinished part of my basement for a long time. I have never used it. And I've got an Aptura refractor. I thought about playing with it, but I've thought about selling it on Cloudy Nights. But it's a Meade, and I'm just not sure, about the software for it and if it's worth anything. So I just let it sit there. I'd let somebody have it pretty cheap if they actually wanted it because I don't know that I have really much of a use for it right now. Well, that was a long drive for you, G-Force from Green Bay. Yeah, you do Astromart a lot too. I do. I haven't done Astromart in quite a while. I need to hop back on there. But man, if you went from Green Bay to Centralia, that had to be, if I remember, it's like, man, it was like 6 hours from Appleton to where I live. So that's like 7.5, 8 hours. I'm thinking you drove to pick up that meat. That's a long drive. You got to go through wonderful Chicago to do it, probably, right? Which I can't stand anything about Chicago. I hate driving through it. 7 hours, yeah. I haven't seen a Starlink come through in a while here. It's interesting. Trying to how to figure out get that where it says welcome to my stream off on here. It kind of I don't really want that on there. I'm trying to just get rid of it. But it's making me put something down there. How do I get rid of that? Try a Halloween font, it says. Oh boy, that's nice. Oh well. I guess we'll be Halloweeny. It's not Halloween though. Let's get rid of that. Get that chat back. All right. So that's pretty cool. For you guys, you're in Green Bay and you're down in Tampa. So I'm what is that? Let's see, maybe 120, 100, 120, about 120 pictures into it. Is that right? Is that about what you'd get for that many exposures where you guys are at, or would it look just about like that? Just curious. Here comes another Cosmos racing by. That's going to be too far out of the range to show up to, isn't it? See if it pops in with that exposure as it fills in. Seems like it has to get like to 4 o'clock before it shows that last exposure stacked on, doesn't it? Yeah, I don't see it. I thought that one would pop in. It didn't do it though. No telescope out tonight, G-force. I don't know what the weather is like up out there or up there tonight. How do I get rid of that welcome to my stream crap? I don't want that on there. Let's see, we are 24:20, 24:30 into it. Oh, that upload, my Starlink upload it's a little jittery. So I know the screen's probably freezing periodically, and I can't help that, and I'm sorry about that. Cold out but clear. He may go out yet. Did you just get your, I forget, did you get your S50 like this week? I know when we talked, was it yesterday? We chatted a little bit. Did you just get it? I'll tell you what, when my wife and I, when we were up in Wisconsin during COVID, and we went up into the Upper Peninsula, I think I mentioned to you the other day, we're thinking about retiring up there, and I got up near what is that area? Gosh darn it, it's the Lake of the Clouds or whatever. What the heck? What is that area? I forget the name of it. What's that area called? I got to look it up now. So when you go up here, we stayed up, yeah, onto Nagan, this whole area. Porcupine Mountains. That's it. Porcupine Mountains. At night there, holy cow, the skies were just unbelievable. And it's been cloudy there. How that sucks. It's been cloudy here for since last Sunday, but it's really opened up tonight. And Scott, you said you've had your 7 months. I had to look up when I got it. By far, it's your most. Isn't it crazy? Yeah, I have not. I actually pulled out my refractor. I was getting ready to set it up on my Star Adventurer because I was going to use the equatorial mount from that to put the SeeStar on. But I got to tell you, I put it on there, and I know there's people on YouTube and on some of the forums talk about putting the SeeStar in that equatorial, that Star Adventurer mount, and I try to get the tripod set properly so it's not too top heavy. but it just feels too. I don't know. I mean, it feels. I don't trust it. I don't want to. And plus, I where I have to put or where I put my SeeStar out on my sidewalk in front of my house because it's the darkest spot. I've got a big light off the side of my shed that screws things up to the east. So I have to set it on the. I put it on the sidewalk, so I don't have to level it every night. And my dog on his chain, I'm afraid he's going to clothesline it. So that's where I leave it. And so I got to be careful about that. But I don't. That plus having it on that equatorial mount, I'm just worried it's too top heavy, and if that dog comes by, the whole thing's gonna go tumbling over. And I'm just not gonna risk it for right now. I might go out into the yard here, farther out where the dog can't get to, and try the equatorial. But I'll be honest, I'm really kind of thinking about getting the Dwarf 3 here at some point. I know it's a huge back order on it, but I'm thinking about getting that too. Or I'm thinking about. I think I've mentioned to a few of you guys that I'm thinking about gifting my S50 to my grandkids. Yeah, I was curious if you've tried it yet, Scott. There's a lot of people on that YouTube or the Facebook group that have shown they've done it, and they seem pretty comfortable with it. But yeah, yeah, that'd be really bad. He could clothesline it really easily, and the whole thing, and that'd be it for me, right? I'd have to talk the wife into letting me get another one. But there's some people. It looks like it's working for them, but I don't know. I tried it. I set it up in the daytime, and it just seemed really, really top heavy. I thought it could just seemed like it'd go over really easily. Even though I made sure that tripod, would be on that side where it would be top heavy and likely to, where that part where the C-star would be leaning over towards to give it that support. But it just seemed like I don't know, I just wasn't really willing to risk it. Did that global star go right through the image there? I wasn't paying attention. Let's watch the mosaic and see what pops in there. It looked like it went right through. Yeah, I saw that too. For the Dwarf 3 shipping sometime in January. Uh, I think there's people I was reading in the group on Facebook. They actually bought theirs or their order in. Yeah, it went right through the middle. So yeah, so why didn't it show up? That's interesting, isn't it? It should have split it right down the middle. It looked like, but I don't see anything happening on the image. Um, there's so many people have said you did pre-order yours. When did you pre-order it? Your S30? Just recently? So I'm curious when those are going to start to ship. Here you go. See the mosaic came down here, right? What made you, if you don't mind me asking, G-Force, what made you decide on the S30 over the Dwarf? Because I've labored over that myself. You got it yesterday. Okay. You mind sharing why you decided to go for the S30 instead of the Dwarf 3? Because I've labored between, I'll be honest, I almost pulled the trigger on one of Unistellar's, but it's so much more money, and I'm afraid that would put me in divorce court. So I decided not to do that one. The shipping in December. Okay, cool. Very cool. All right, let's see. Yeah, that one, I swear that satellite split the middle and it just did not show up. Wonder so that makes me question the accuracy of Stellarium's satellite tracking there. Because yeah, the angle, that looked like it split right through the center of it and it's not showing up on here. G-Force, so you just got the S50 and pre-ordered the, yeah, dang is right. I forget how many scopes you said you had, G-Force. Is this your first foray? I know Scott's got several, he said earlier. Price mostly, I guess. Don't really know anything about the Dwarf. So I've been watching the videos on the Dwarf 3 and that equatorial mode really, really, really intrigues me in what I've seen. So I'm really curious about it. It's kind of swung me that direction, but that'll be cool. You can kind of test the S50 and the S30 both if you're going to keep them both. I forget, G-Force, you said you live right in Green Bay, is that correct? I always thought going up into Door County, go way up to Washington Island, you get your telescope. I forget the name of that state park out in Washington, or that little, what is that, Rock Island off of Washington Island. That's you can actually camp there overnight. I thought, man, what a great place to do some stargazing. We went there. My wife and I went there a few when we were up in Wisconsin. If I can find it here, yeah, I'm locked up again. Damn it! I think I'm locked up again here. I got locked up again. It looked like I hope y'all are hearing me again. Again. So get rid of that. And you said, well, you need to order a dwarf. Then you'll learn about the dwarf. Yeah, just live in Bellevue. Okay. So I don't know if I know where Bellevue's at. I know that area pretty well. We lived on G-Force. You'll enjoy this. We lived on Mike Holmgren Drive in a apartment complex that Theta Care paid for my wife. So we lived just in Appleton on way over here, not near the airport. I forget exactly where it was at now. It wasn't near the airport. It was over here somewhere on Mike Holmgren Drive, but it was no McCarthy Drive. I'm sorry, McCarthy Road. We lived right here. And you're saying you're in Bellevue, so I'm trying to figure out where Bellevue. I cannot spell tonight. Yeah, it took me down. It took me to Bellevue, Washington. Ah, okay. Yeah. Got it. Got it. So that's not too bad for your skies then, I'm guessing. So to the south and to the east, you should be good. My wife and I, we actually we spent a lot of time over in Algoma. Yeah, near. I know exactly where you're at. That Walmart East. So you're right off of 43, right? We spent a lot of time over in Algoma and up in this area and down at Kewanee. But boy, I've always thought if you come up here with a telescope and catch it, go out to Washington Island, and then catch that little boat and go out here to Rock Island, what a what an amazing place that would be to take your SeeStar. That'd be just an amazing place to go. Let's go back here. Skies suck, actually, huh? Really? Okay. So just from the Green Bay and from the Fox Valley, Fox River Valley. I have never been over on the shore at night, like Algoma or even over Green Bay. I would, what would it look like to the north? Too much light pollution there. All right, what am I in here? That's 100 and 186, 191. Is that right? I got 191 exposures in here. My math is right on a Friday night. My upload just stinks here. I know it keeps stalling out. My upload just stinks. It keeps blinking out on me here. The screen keeps freezing up. There's really nothing I can do about it except make sure every other internet device in the house is off. I'm curious, do you guys run? I've just started using a phone charger to keep the SeeStar charged up. I don't know how. I've got like a big a Bluetti that I could plug into it, but I haven't done that yet. But this little phone charger keeps it all night long at 100%. I have just one night even in a dark sky site with my setup. Now you got to get up into those north woods, man. Get up to, what is that, Three Lakes or Minocqua or somewhere like that, or head over to the lake, maybe. I don't know. For Scott, you just live with it, right? Where you're at. God damn it. Scott, you just live with it in Tampa, right? Or do you have anywhere dark you really go out and go? I think you mentioned you just, from your house, it is what it is. Remember when 9 p.m. on Friday night, it was just time to start hitting the bars and clubs. Now we sit at home watching our smart scopes images improve. Yeah, yeah. We all get older, right? You have talent cells for scopes and SeeStar. I don't know what that means. What's talent cells? What is that, Scott? Or G-Force? I'm not sure what does talent cells mean? I don't know what that means. I feel dumb now that I don't know what that means. Oh, for your battery. Okay, got it, got it, got it, got it. You got that. Okay, yeah, okay. So I've just got a basic Bluetti, but I don't use it. I leave that in my garage. It's a backup for things to run the lights for the house. But my little anchor battery just plugged in USB out there sitting on the sidewalk with it right now. Yep, yep. I'm slow on the uptake, man. Sorry, I didn't realize what you were saying there. My head moved on to another topic. But yeah, that works out pretty good for you. Just like a cell phone battery supply. Yeah, and Scott, you're saying you go about 30 miles south out of town. Is that like a state park or something? Scott, did you say you're like, was that somebody else? You're south of Tampa, like Sarasota area a little bit? We're now 180, 204, 206 pictures in. Is that right? Only math right there. You know, it's weird. I haven't seen a Starlink come through here in a long time. I have not seen a Starlink come through here in a long time here. Oh, awesome. Yeah. That's cool. So you've got a lot of people in your club you can talk to. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. You know, look at that picture right now. No more exposures. It's looking pretty good. I need to really get into I think I mentioned the other day I need to really get back into the photo editing, and I just edit it on my iPad or on the Samsung and try to get the best picture I can out of that. And I'm not even saving individual files. I'm just letting it do its thing. You're just south of Tampa, St. Pete, Sarasota's farther south. Okay, I'm in a town called Palmetto. Yeah, you were right there with the hurricane, weren't you? That right there is not disappearing out of that photo very easily, is it? Oh, there is a mosaic going up that way. Oh, there goes another one on the mosaic. Okay, Scott says, all I use is the free version of PS Express on the iPad for my image enhancing, nothing spectacular. So is that Lightroom or that's just Photoshop Express? It's not Lightroom, correct? I'm amazed I'm not getting any more stack fails here. I don't know if there may have been a few pop up I didn't notice, but I've only noticed 3 here this whole time so far. And I think we're close. Are the Pleiades up yet? Yeah, the Pleiades are, was that 10? Is there 10, they're 20 degrees up. So I've got trees on the east side here. So these are just probably just about peeping over the trees, but not quite yet. For M45. Excuse me. Oh, yeah, Photoshop Express. And it won't let me post a link to I just got I splurged and I got an iPad M4. And I got the whole works. And I'm not real familiar with an iPad. So I don't know much about them. So I'm just using that native filtering, photo filtering. So I may have to check into that. Yeah, I forget. GeForce. I can't remember. You mentioned you have several scopes, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I'm stalled out again. Yeah, I splurged and bought the whole top end iPad. So, but it is pretty nice. It is really nice to have it. 'Cause I went ahead and got the keyboard the whole bit. So I kind of justify it because I've just got a little geekum computer, a little square cube of a computer. So I kind of justify the iPad for, for the mobility of it. It's kind of nice to have. Ooh, very nice. Yeah. Dumbbell, moon, sun, and two globulars. It's really weird to watch that there's no satellite. They were just coming through left and right. Now they're just gone. Damn near like having a Mac Air book. Then with this, yeah, it really is. I debated between the two to have get a Mac Air because I had bought my daughter one. She's in college a couple of years ago, and I about went that route. But I went ahead. I just like the idea of being able to have the iPad by itself and not no keyboard instead of a whole laptop. So I'm sitting on the couch or whatever. I want the iPad itself. So I decided to go that route. That is pretty cool. I haven't even tried. I haven't even tried to image the dumbbell nebula yet. I'm curious if I was able to in September when there was an occultation of Saturn and the moon. I was able to get it now. Saturn setting over the horizon on the moon. That was a damn lucky shot, I thought, when I did a video on that. Yes, I have several scopes going to start listing them. Time to recoup. Time to get some money back, right? Yeah, I've got so much. I don't have so much tied up in telescopes anymore, but I've got, oh my God, I've got a DJI Mavic drone. I've got other, and we've all got our toys, right? And I've got ham radio stuff, but I've downsized quite a bit on my astronomy equipment. So it's just the SeeStar, and then I've got a Aptura, and then the Star Adventurer. Where are we at now? We've got what 241 exposures here. I may have to look at that. I'm looking it up right now. That the PS Express. You're pretty happy just using or you're pretty happy just using that PS Express, Scott? I tried to get that occultation, but had exposure set for the moon. Damn it! Did you see where I was always taught to say Spica, but everybody else says Spica? That November 27th, that there's gonna be an occultation. That's what I've got. I got the DJI Mavic Pro. Yeah, I've got the same one. I'm really kind of excited. On the 27th, I want to try. I think it's in the southeast at like an hour before sunrise on the 27th. I think that's what it was, if I remember correctly. The moon and Spica, there's going to be an occultation. So I'll see if I can get that captured on the SeeStar. Would be kind of cool. Oh man. Okay, later, man. I'm afraid my upload just sucks. You only use a couple features for it for PS Express. Yeah, I may have to try it. I wonder if I switch to my 5.0 gigahertz. I am on my 5.0. If that would help. Let me try that real fast here. Go to 5.0 instead of. I lost something. There we go. Yeah, let's do that. It reconnected on me. There we go. Let's see if that works better. Um, Geo4 says, okay, back in a few. Scott says, yes, I only use a couple of features. I'm old school and say Spica. That's what I say too. I was watching the Sky and Telescope description of it, and the guy said Spica. And I'm like, what the hell is Spica? It's Spica, man. It's not Spica. I'm old school like that too. Well, that mosaic's really starting to spread out now, isn't it? And I have not seen a satellite in how long now? It's been a long. That's they were just flying by left and right. Now there's nothing. That's crazy. Hmm. So that's really cool. You guys have a dark sky site like that, Scott. Have you got a lot of members in that club? I see there's 6 people on, and I'm going to throw out if anybody's interested. Don't feel obligated, obviously, but Restream has an ability for people to jump on and talk. If you click that link, I promise it's not malware anywhere. But if anybody wants to jump on and just chat, feel free to do it. But I don't want to make anybody feel obligated either because it's uncomfortable. You might be sitting there in front of people or something like that. Yeah, okay. I'm showing 6 in chat. I'd be curious who else is all in here. If you don't mind, anybody who's in here, you mind share where you're from, and what your SeeStar interest level is. My wife might be one keeping an eye on me. I don't know. I, I don't think so, though. She's sleeping. She works as a nurse. She worked all night last night or got up early this morning. It's looking good. Scott says it's a decent sized club, but there are the typical core group of maybe 10, yeah, who always show up at the events. It's always that way. Familiar with the Pareto principle. It's like 10 oh, that's cool. Yeah, it's probably 20% of the people probably use it 80% of the time, I'm guessing. Do a lot of public events. Yeah, that's really cool. I'm gonna hopefully be retired here in about a year and a half. Oh, there's my buddy, NY Raider fan. Hey, welcome back, man. Hey, Scott, we were on earlier today, Scott, and NY Raider fan hopped on and was debating that. Your point, I think you may have more experience than I do and knowledge on the hardware. I was saying to NY Raider fan that if I didn't have the S50 right now and I was wanting a smart telescope, I would probably go for the D3 right now because of the equatorial mode. But I don't know if you feel that same way or not. I'd be curious because he's near Rochester, upstate New York, and he's debating which way to go right now. I'd be really curious on what your thoughts are on it. I mean, you can't go wrong either way, I don't think. But if I didn't have one right now, I think I'd be getting in line for the D3. Why are there no satellites showing up here? That's just crazy. Welcome back, man. I'm assuming you're a man, NY Raider fan. NY Raider, that sounds like you are. But you never know these days. You have to not assume anything, I guess. Since they are both the same price right now, I might wait it out for the next deal. Yeah, that if unless you've got, I think I mentioned earlier today, unless you've got attention deficit syndrome like I do, I impulsively go out and buy it. But yeah, yeah, you may want to hold out. Scott that says, that's a good question. I'm really not sure, honestly. I can see the benefits of the D3. When I was watching the videos of some of the people that got their hands on it earlier, and I know it's not the final, but I got to tell you that that equatorial mode, and I was watching him. Who was it? The Guido, I think his name is in Europe. Excuse me. He was doing those 60-second exposures with it, and that just really intrigued me. And then, of course, it's got that terrestrial mode, which is really cool. Yeah, Scott says, "NY, if you wait for the next deal, you'll." Yeah, yeah, that's for sure. It's so inexpensive, 450 bucks or whatever. Boy, to do what we're doing here right now with this for 450 bucks. I mean, what would that have cost if 10 years ago to get this quality of picture? It's just amazing. I mean, 450 bucks. It's like a couple of times of taking your wife out to a restaurant nowadays, right? Fair, but the economy usually dictates the next deal. Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. I'd be curious too. We were talking earlier today. Will there be? You may have brought it up, NY Raider fan. Is there going to be Black Friday deals after Thanksgiving too? I don't know. Scott, I forget you were you on too. We were talking about that, right? Ron Hillier, where in Illinois? I'm from Collinsville. I am. I am about an hour east of you, Ron. I'm between Effingham and Vandalia out in the country, so that's where I'm at. Pretty dark skies where I'm at. And Scott said, "Yeah, or a nice Teleview eyepiece for sure." Yeah, those Televiews are pretty nice and pretty expensive. Welcome, Ron. Have you got a SeeStar? You're like the third person within an hour of me. Gentleman earlier today was in Metro East as well and was just buying a SeeStar today off Craigslist over in Fenton, I think down by Six Flags and Eureka area in St. Louis area. Oh, yeah, Greenville. Yep. Know Greenville well. I spent a lot. I'm a process improvement consultant, so I've worked with the hospital there in Greenville with HSHS and spent a lot of time in with St. Elizabeth's there, close to you. So I don't work with them anymore. I work consult nationwide remotely, but yeah, a lot of friends, and I love that milk place in Greenville. What's that place? That's the Milk House or something. Fantastic little place. Oh, okay, you're out in Phoenix now. NY Raider for about 3 weeks now. Okay, and NY Raider says ZWO had a $50 discount on the S50 earlier this year, so there's always hope we get another deal before then. Okay, that's very cool. And then Ron says you're out in Phoenix now. And Scott says, wonder how that deal went on with the UC Star. Hoped it turned. Yeah, I haven't heard. He sent me an email, just said, hey, I'm the same guy that was on the chat. So maybe he'll pop back on. So yeah, I hope it turned out good for him. It was a good price. What did he say? It was 400 bucks. Be a pain in the butt to drive there on a Friday afternoon where he was at though. Ron says 20 years ago, a couple of friends and I had a computer shop and internet cafe. Oh, okay. In downtown, catering to that Greenville College crowd. Oh yeah, I forgot about the $50 deal they had. Yeah, I couldn't resist when I bought. I think that was I just pulled the trigger when I saw it from High Point Scientific and just bought it for the 499. I want to say it was. So Ron, you're out in Phoenix now, and you've got to have tremendous skies. Do you have a Sea Star, Ron? Yeah, right on the main square. Yeah, know it well. I spent a lot of time in Greenville at the hospital there, um, helping them with process improvement. Do you have a? Yeah, you got one now. Okay. No, you probably do you image right in the Phoenix area, or you head out into the desert? where the heck are all the satellites? Did I jack something up and have the satellites not appear on this thing? Because they were just left and right on here earlier. Let's see. Andrew hopped in. Wish I took advantage of the SeeStar sale. I was optimistic of the Dwarf 3 release. And Ron says, I just got into astronomy last year. You got into astronomy last year and you got 4 telescopes at the moment. You got in fast. You're disabled now, so I just go into my backyard. Ah, gotcha. Okay. Scott, Ron didn't waste you didn't waste any time, man. You jumped right in. What kind of scopes do you have, Ron? And then Andrew says you took advantage of that SeeStar sale and you're optimistic of the Dwarf 3 release. I'll tell you, I'm leaning really towards buying a Dwarf 3 here, but I'm just part of me wants it to be released and see how it works, and then maybe wait till supply or demand drops off, and maybe in the spring get it. But boy, I see the videos on it from people who have tested it. I'm like, man, I want to try that thing out so badly. Does the SeaStar work pretty well for you in your backyard? With the where you got to have like a Bortle 0 in Phoenix, I guess, or a 1. Sorry to laugh, but does it do pretty well for you? NY Raider fan. So I have a 3D printer and made the Botanoff filter in anticipation of getting it. Boy, I really want a 3D printer bad. I bought one of the dew shields that somebody was selling on Amazon, and it's great. It's on it right now outside. I'm running it right now with these images you see there, and it was like $10 or something like that. But I'd love to have a 3D printer to make something like that. I just haven't done it yet. Hey, G-Force, welcome back. Scott says New York, man, oh man, 3D. I have many times started the run to want to buy one of those, and uh, it doesn't make the final cut with the wife, so I have not bought one yet. Ron, if you're still on, I'm really curious. You've got 4 scopes, and you're in the Phoenix area. I'm curious how imaging works out for you. NY Raider fan says, yeah, I plan on printing the dew shield among other things for the S50. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. That's really cool. So I forget which folks don't have the S50 or have a smart telescope. It's really this simple. It's so dang simple to take the pictures or get the images that you're seeing here. So we're into for anybody not familiar with it, I just leave it set, and Scott or anybody else who has an S50 jump in here. But I just, like most people, set it to 10-second exposures, and I went ahead and I've got mosaic mode on here, and I got a much bigger square. My square around Andromeda is about like this. It's several hours of images to fill that up. But it's that simple. It went right to it, slews right to it. Very, very simple. Scott says, I've also seen a battery holder for the external battery that mounts to the SeeStar. I've seen that too. I've thought about, like with my little phone charger battery, to put some Velcro on it and then just Velcro it to the side of the SeeStar. But I haven't had the guts to do that yet. Um, Ron says, anybody order the S30 yet? I think who was that? I'm sorry, there's so many folks in here. I forget. Somebody ordered the S30 earlier. And then NY Raider fan, you can get a small printer for relatively cheap. I recommend the Ender 3 from Creality for beginners. Yeah, you're gonna get me one to do that now. I really want one of those damn things. I really, really want one. I have not ordered the S30, Ron. I'm gonna hold off, and I'm gonna wait and see how it does. And I'm very, very, I'm holding off. I'm resisting the urge to put in an order for the Dwarf 3. Geoforce says pre-order, and then Ron says, Scott Smith, that's worth it. I had my son print it for me. Just got to be sure it's wide enough for your battery pack. Yeah, that's really cool. Christmas is coming. For sure, man. For sure. Yep, same here. Yep. I'll tell you, it's a game changer for me to have that battery pack on there. The battery. Um, Excellent point, New York, about Christmas. Yeah, for sure. The one thing I wonder about, if you run that battery on the SeeStar all the time and it's always at 100%, does that is that good or bad for that battery in the long run? I wonder if that's, I've read where, like on your phone, my Samsung, you want it to discharge, not all the way, but way down, maybe way down low. I wonder if that's damaging to always have that battery on there, because the one I have on, it'll be 100% till 5 in the morning or longer if I want it to. But I'm wondering if that's the best thing for it. I'm gonna throw that out there. What's the music all about? No, I don't have that. Okay. I'm just trying to learn this streaming video that I'm using here too simultaneously. It's got that stupid Halloween font. How do I get that turned off? There we go. It's back to default. Okay, we are now, how much are we into this now? 53 minutes, 10. So that is, test my math here, that's 319 exposures. And I swear that's 319 exposures, and I only have 3 stack failures. Only 3. Whereas I mentioned last night, I was doing M45, the Pleiades, and I was having stack failures. Man, I bet you I was having stack failures. Probably 30% of them were. NY Raider fan says, so does anybody have recommended settings for deep sky objects? Um, do you mean, unpack that a little more, New York Raider fan? So what does that mean when you say deep settings for deep sky objects? Like, with the SeeStar, there's not a lot of settings to be concerned about. You just click and go to. Other than maybe having the built-in filter on or off, there's really not much setting to do. If I understand your question, I may be misconstruing what you're asking there, though. Maybe I can show you here in a minute if I know what your question is. I can switch to another object. It's stalling out on me, dang it. I locked up there for a second, folks. Sorry about that. As far as time length, Scott asks, for the S50, I know with the D3 you can adjust gain, length, etc. So really, with and Scott or anybody else jump in there as well, you really can't adjust. You can adjust the exposure time, so you can use 10, 20, or 30 seconds. But I don't know, unless there's a setting I'm not aware of. I can't really mess with the gain or anything like that. It's pretty automatic. Yeah, with the D3, if you watch those videos, it shows you can adjust a lot of those things, I think. But I don't know unless somebody knows something I don't with the settings on the SeeStar. It's just the exposure length, and I think you can turn that filter on and off right here as you want. So if I go, just so you know, if you haven't seen it, so I can go in here, you change the brightness, contrast, saturation, if you see what I'm doing there. And then the mark just kind of, I don't know why it does that sometimes. It doesn't, it's got a line drawn to Andromeda. Sometimes should be a circle just over it. So it shows you the mark, and then you can do autofocus and then go to the sky atlas here. And Scott says, I use 10 seconds. I only adjust the gain in solar and lunar modes. Yep. See, I only do 10-second exposures. I don't do anything else. It's just I think with the focal length that we're dealing with, and just the nature of the SeeStar, 10 seconds is the easiest to do. Now, if I had it on an equatorial mount, like some people do, I might change that. I asked somebody on Facebook who's using equatorial, excuse me, equatorial mode, and I think they're doing 20-second exposures while they're in equatorial mode. I'm gonna let this go a little bit longer. I might change just to kind of show if NY Raider fan, if you or anybody else who doesn't have one, kind of show you how it operates here. As long as my upload sucks here tonight, so I hope it doesn't. I know it's locking up on me periodically. I know it's locking up on me periodically here. So maybe I'll go and let this go for an hour of exposure, then I'll flip to something else so anybody who doesn't have the S50 can kind of see how it operates. Ron asks, has anyone tried shooting any nebula with the filter on for a while, then turning it off for a while? Apparently it allows for better colors. I have not done that. I have not done that. I have a feeling I keep mentioning, and Scott, I'm not trying to oversell you, man, but I feel like that you may have as deep, and maybe my buddy G-Force, you guys may have as much or more experience than I do with these things with the hardware, but I have not done that, Ron. I noticed, it flips that filter on, it seems like automatically for objects where it knows there's a mission nebula, and if it knows that it needs to have it on, it turns it on. Um, Ron or NY Raider fan jumps in saying, "What I like about the S50 is darks. Yeah, darks are already established when you turn it on. Yep, for sure. Whereas you have to recreate darks in the D3 every time you use it." And then Scott asked, "Ron, that's something I haven't tried yet, but sounds interesting." Yeah, that would be interesting. Have you done that, Ron? Or you're saying apparently it allows, so that implies you haven't tried it yet. You're curious. Yeah, I got to tell you, NY Raider fan, that D3 really intrigues me. When I first started looking at smart telescopes, I looked at them, and I thought about all the telescopes I've had in my life, and I looked at them. Those things can't be real. That's got to be some kind of a cheap gimmick. How can those be real? Because I was so tied to that paradigm of what a telescope looks like. Since my life. And here this thing looks so radically different, especially that D3, the Dwarf 3. It's like that's a toy. It can't be real. But man, you watch the videos, and you sure get an education real fast on what they can actually do. Scott, yeah, that's something I haven't. Sounds interesting. Ron says you haven't tried it yet. Okay, yeah, I may have to try that. Now we're up to 5710. I think I'm going to get up to 180 exposures here, and then switch over to something else here, and just to kind of give anybody who doesn't have the SeeStar S50 kind of show how the software works here. NY Raider fans says I'm kind of surprised that ZWO didn't release any promo videos of the S30 other than some pics on the website. Yeah, that's kind of interesting, but boy, they seem to have huge demand, huge demand of people pre-ordering them, I think. And then Scott's saying that was my initial thought on the first dwarf as well. Looked like a toy. Yeah, it's like I thought this is like either Timu crap. That's the first thing I thought. Is this Timu or something? It's just something that Chinese are just cranking out. But boy, it's real. It's real for sure. GeoForce, there's a guy from a YouTube video that sells 3D printed kit for $20. It's a dew shield, a botter, sun filter, and three other things. I think I may have seen that too, GeForce. I think I might have seen that too. And that's, for $20, can't go wrong there, I don't think. Scott says, prove me wrong though. Yep, for sure, for sure. And then Ron says it supposedly lets you get the blues. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool to try it. Now, Ron, I don't think we've had the pleasure of chatting before. Timu, yeah. That's what I thought, man. I thought, is this some kind of Timu crap? There's no way that's a telescope. Some people initially thought yeah, I saw that too. And why Radio Family said they thought this isn't real. It's kind of like when you take a picture of the moon with my Samsung. It's like people say that's not real. It's Samsung's putting in our AI generated vision of the moon there. Um, I forgot what I was going to say now, but yeah, I thought it was Timu for sure, and or something like that. This isn't real. There's no way that's a telescope, but God, it's so impressive when you see what somebody can do with the thing. And there's a gentleman on from Ireland on earlier today, and he talked about how it's so cool to be able, you throw it in a backpack and travel. When you're on holiday, it's so easy. You could do that with a SeeStar too, but the SeeStar is kind of a little more difficult because it's a little larger. So I'm going to try here at 180. When I get 180 exposures, I'm going to stop here, and then I'm going to go to the Sky Atlas here, and well, maybe I'll just go back and kind of give you a little tour if you haven't seen it of the interface, and kind of walk through and try to see if we can get the Pleiades here. I think the Pleiades are up high enough now. What is it time? It's about quarter to 9 here Central Time, and there they are, and they're about we're about 25 degrees up in the air. So should be above the trees to the east of my house here. So I should be able to get those in. Thank you, Ron. Um, Ron, just this is far better than watching those videos with the same. Yeah, for sure. There's a couple people out there doing this too. I think there's that. Is it Pompey Observatory? They do it too. I just started. This is the first time I've ever done it here at night. I just thought it's really neat to me to try to interact with other people. Somebody who may know less than me, which is isn't hard to do. Or it's very hard to do. I'm not great. I'm just through a few months into this, but also run into people who have a lot more experience than I do, so we can kind of all learn from each other, which I really do appreciate. I like to rob and deploy somebody who's got more knowledge than me and use it. So Ron, yeah, it's far better. NY Radio Fan, boy, the EQ mode and portability of the D3 make it really does make it a really strong argument to try for me anyway, because I like the idea of that built-in EQ mode on that more than putting that SeeStar up on a tripod on my Star Adventure equatorial mount, and I've done it, just so stinking top heavy, and for reasons I talked about earlier, I'm just not eager to do that because I got to tie my husky out 2 or 3 times a night, and I'm afraid with his long chain, he's gonna go along that tripod and just clothesline it and knock it over. So I'm just not risking it. Pompey Observatory is just a couple. Oh, is he? Okay, that's cool. Very cool. He's really he's pretty religious about it, right? He's on every morning, it seems like. I've hopped on there a few times. He does a really good job. Okay, so there's an hour. So I'm going to get out of here for a second. And for anybody who hasn't seen it, let's go back to the main screen. I'll give you a quick tour and see what we can come up with here. If I can, I'm trying to operate this from my computer, so I don't know if it's going to work exactly the way I want. Ooh, okay, go back here. And then so from the main screen, let's go to stargazing, and it gives you a tour. And I think I got a left click and drag to move when it's on my computer. Yeah, there we go. I'm a left click and drag. So you just be swiping on your phone, right? So there's Andromeda, there's the dumbbell, and it shows you here. I think if it's advantageous to have the filter, it'll when you go to it, it's gonna trigger the filter when you zoom to it. Triangulum, Eye of God, Ring, Pac-Man, IC 57. So Pelican, Cocoon, Fossil, Cocoon, but Pleiades aren't listed yet. Whoops, I don't want the Cocoon. Ron, I have the same fear with my dog. He's 140. Yeah, mine's a husky, and he's not 140 pounds, but he's 80, every bit of 85. And yeah, I'm afraid. I'd let him out country, Ron, and if I don't, I can't just let him out without a chain because there's coyotes all over the place here, and he thinks he can make friends with the coyotes, and I'm not really wanting to deal with deal with that. I think he'd try to make friends with a pack of coyotes, and that would be it. Ron, sorry guys, but let it. No, you're cool. That's cool. So let's see. What do we want to go for here, and to see if it slews to it? Pleiades, I think, are high enough because I'm the trees to the east of my house are right about in here, I think. So I've done the Pleiades last night, but just to demonstrate how it works, maybe I'll kind of do that to show anybody that doesn't have the SeeStar how it works. So let's see if I can get that real quick here. Oh, so I'm going to click it, and then you can see there it's Kumo scared off the coyotes here. I don't know. My dog, I don't. He's too friendly. That husky's too friendly, and he looks out every night at him. And I've got a side by side that I'll take him out and run him with that on his chain, and we'll go over there towards them. But he wants to make friends with him. I think he'd put up quite a fight. A husky could probably fight if he's pissed off. I think he or felt really attacked. He think he could probably take a few down here. He had to. Anyway, so it'll show you where it's at currently. So it's 24 degrees up. So you can see here, that's about 24 here, right? There's 20, there's 30. So it's right there. And I think the top of my trees is like right there. So it ought to be just over. And we're going to find out in a second. So it's 24 degrees current altitude. I'm going to hit go to, and it's going to try to find it. And let me hit cancel here. Well, let me get to it first. I guess I could do it this way too. Let's just go to the filter. So I went to the Sky Atlas. Sorry about that. I should have described what I was doing. I'm going to hit objects. I'm going to do M45. If it doesn't lock up on me here. And it tells you a little bit about it. Locate the target position and see it's just rising here. And it's going to go to it. Then what you do, or what I do, and anybody who's got more experience with this, let me know. So you can tell right now this box here is what the SeeStar would be able to capture. So you can kind of size it and get it where you want it to be. I'm going to hit framing here. I'm going to left click on frame, and then it's going to show the recommended shooting durations about 3/10 of an hour. There's the magnification. You can reset it there, and then there's a magnifier there, and then you can rotate the rectangle here. So I am going to I got to figure out how to do it here. I can't swipe with my finger. I got to left click with the mouse here, and I think pull it this way, and watch the square get bigger like that. So I'm going to try to get the whole Pleiades in there. Then I'm going to click here, and then I'm going to hit go to, and you should start seeing it move there. Here comes the SeeStar. California Nebula is close by the Pleiades. Should I go for I haven't done the California Nebula yet. Should I do that instead? Because I've done the Pleiades so many times. Or I just did the Pleiades last night. Let me stick it here for a second. Yeah, I should do NGC 1499. So here we go. So it went right to it pretty quickly. And so now I should be in mosaic mode here. Let's see what it does. So it's that simple for anybody new here. Kevin, hey, welcome, man. Hey, I'm a newbie here. How does one remote control the unit from the house, Wi-Fi or cable? So what I'm doing, so that took its first exposure. So that's 10 seconds. You can see it's its first shot of the Pleiades there. Um, Kevin, the way I'm doing it is I've got this set. I'm in the basement of my house right now, and it's not by cable. There's no cable. It's all wireless. And I go out, and somebody may have another way they do it, and feel free to chime in here. It's set up on my Samsung SG23 Ultra. That's what you see on the screen here on the right hand side. So this is the screen on my Samsung, and I had the Bluetooth and I synced it. I have that on, and then I'll go out to the SeeStar and I'll connect to its Wi-Fi. And now I've come into the house here, and I've just since on Windows, I'm using Windows Phone Link to screen share my Samsung screen online here. I don't know if that answers your question. It's not cable though. It's wireless. It has its own Wi-Fi. The SeeStar does, and you just connect to its Wi-Fi. But it has a station mode that you can use as well that allows you to share your Wi-Fi. Like I've got Starlink here, so my router and my Wi-Fi for that, they all could share that. So the Starlink or the SeeStar could be on that, and my phone on that, and then multiple devices could be on it too. I'm not sure with the new upgrade, you get this weird message that it'll say, "Do you want to take control or just be a guest?" Thanks, G-Force. You said it much more succinctly than I. Kevin, where you at? Where you live? I am in Illinois, and I think G-Force is up in the Green Bay area. Scott's down in Florida. Ron's out in Phoenix. Who am I missing? My NY Raider fans, Rochester area, New York. There's the second one, so you can see the mosaics going right away. When using mosaic mode, is 10 seconds still the preferred exposure? So I'm going to sound like I'm an expert here, but I'm really not. But I believe it is 10 seconds optimal. I think with it, you could go 20 or 30, but I do not do more than 10. I would try more than 10 if I had more confidence in putting the SeeStar on my equatorial mount, so it's aligned with the polar axis, right? Then I would go to maybe 20 and try it. But I just do 20, but other folks on here might, or just do 10 rather. Other folks may tell you they're doing something else, but 10's all I do. So you can see there, like, oh man, I've already got 220 in exposures here. That's pretty quick. So I've got, what is that, 12, 13, 14 exposures just like that. I don't think I've had any failures. I had so many failures on this last night, stack fails. It was like 30% failures after midnight last night. Let's try to do real quickly here. I'm going to go to California Nebula, and I'm going to go to the Atlas. We'll go to California Nebula. Oops. And you can see, again, for anybody new to this is the screen size. If I click framing over here, so that's what the new software did. I don't know if it gave Scott. Kevin says, thanks. What are the limits for cold? I'm in Minnesota. I think, it's like the third time I've had that question today. I don't know. Does anybody know whether, I don't think there's any limit on the cold other than the effect it might have on the battery. I haven't had it through a winter. Anybody's had that through a winter, maybe you could answer that better for Kevin. So this is the California Nebula. I'm going to left click on. I'm on my displaying my screen. Obviously, I'm two windows here. So I left click. You just tap that with your phone here to magnify to make that box bigger. And boy, this one would be busy all night, I think. So I'm going to try to line that up if I can. Maybe about like that. Right? And then I'm going to hit go to. I'm going to switch to it from the Pleiades. NY Raider fan says it's a game changer. It really is. I could get really good pictures or images of things before the mosaic mode, but it wouldn't give you everything. And it's like, God, it feels like I'm just getting half the hamburger here, right? I'm not getting the I'm not getting the full meal deal. So let's see how it does here. Moving into there. Oh, it got off center on me. Let's see how it turns out here. I may have jacked it up there and dragged it off the exact center line, but let's see what it does here with the first exposure. Damn it. Okay, sorry, I think I froze up there for a second. So G4 says, not sure on the temp limits. He ought to know he's in Green Bay, but he doesn't have his yet. So Ron, it says, I think my biggest issue with the SeeStar is my lack of patience. Yeah, you probably got attention deficit syndrome like I do, Ron. And then Scott says, sorry, I forgot about how big the California. I thought about it too. As soon as I got in there, it may take a while, but that's okay. I haven't imaged it yet, and it's kind of cool just to show people that don't have the SeeStar. For people that don't have the SeeStar, it's kind of nice just to show them. So that's okay. The California level is that big. Um, Andrew says, I got mine yesterday after seeing the success of the new update. Still have the D3 on pre-order for now. Does that imply, Andrew, you're thinking about canceling your pre-order on the D3? And then Ron says SeeStar S50 all-in-one telescopes recommended operating temperature. Oh, thank you for that, for 0 to 40 Celsius. Thanks for that, Ron. So let's see. I think my picture's a little bit off, but that mosaic may catch most of it. So you already see that's just, what are we, 6, 7 exposures in. You can kind of see over here already some of that starting to appear just like that. Scott says, Ron, same with me. I'm 59 minutes into the North American Nebula. If it wasn't for this live feed, I'd be going nuts. Yeah, I'd probably have like YouTube on in the background and be sitting on my couch right now and have the iPad off to the side imaging this right now. So there's 2 of them. So that's 6, that's 10 exposures in. Let's see how long it takes for it to really make this pop over here. Andrew says, correct, 3 months or longer. Need something to keep me busy come time change. And I switch indoor cycle training. Yeah. Scott, under the right, is your filter on? I can't tell. You know what? I'm colorblind, so I can't tell either. Can anybody? I think it. I can't tell if it is or not. Can anybody tell if that's on or not? I can't tell. This is really bad. I'm like really bad red green colorblind, and I don't know what color it tells me whether it's on or not. I think I might have went blanked out there for a second. I can't tell if it's on or not. I'm really bad colorblind, so I think that lights up a color, does it not, if it's on? I wonder how much my bandwidth Stellarium's taking up here. I might kill Stellarium because it might be chewing up some bandwidth here. I think I'm slightly off. It dragged over. Can I go back to the Sky Atlas and check it to make sure it's centered? See, I'm not centered properly. It's up in here, but I'd like to get it farther up like that. Now let's try it. Yeah, I don't know what green is though, Andrew. I can't tell. Now let's pop it back in there. Should be a greenish color, but if you're already picking up nebulosity, it's probably on. Yeah, let's see. Let's try it again here. I don't know. It may not look that way. I can't tell if it's on or not. Would not if the adjust, that looks a lighter color to me. I'm just not sure if that's on or not. I can't tell. But it is picking up the nebulosity in the first couple of exposures. So you can kind of see it faint. I don't know if you guys can see it on mine. I can see it right there. It's slow on red, green. Yeah, I'm slow on red, green also. Yeah, I'm really bad on it. They really should make, Andrew says they really should make it a check mark. Excellent. Yeah, I agree with that. That's why we have 88 for sure. Yeah, that's a really good idea to have that. Yeah, it's yeah, yeah, I know the red's on top and the green's on the bottom. So what are we at? 6, 7, 8 in. You can kind of see the nebulosity there. So that's just after 7, 8 exposures. So I'm guessing it's probably on. That is really that red green thing is really my limiting factor of getting into astrophotography and really editing photos. I'm just not that good at it. Happens with horizontal traffic, yeah, for sure. I can relate. I can definitely relate. So that kind of gives it away, does it not? So is that must mean it's not on, right? Because I click mark and that light, I can tell that's a different color. Hey, good morning. Good morning, Nur. I hope I'm saying your name correctly. Where are you at? What time is it for you? Hey, welcome, man. Sorry, I think I've had some bandwidth issues here, so um, let me catch up here. Ron, full moon tonight. Should be outside, but we have clouds moving in. Yep, Psy for sure. G-force, I should be out too, but this is interesting. I appreciate that. Nur, good morning. You're in Taiwan, coming from the Republic of Indonesia. Pleasure to meet you. And Ron, pick is coming in nicely. Now, yeah, so we're 30 exposures in. You kind of see the shape of it coming in pretty nicely here after 30 exposures. How are you doing, Nerd? Do you have a SeeStar? So it's interesting. So I've had this going for about 3 hours now, and the battery is that little phone charger battery is just a beast. It's going to be holding that thing at 100% all night long. I don't think we've had any stack failures either here. Hi, Kevin. I haven't bought one yet. Any word on the new model release? I do not know for sure on the new model release, Kevin. Here, I know somebody on here. Who was it? You've got this S30 on order, and I'm sorry, I don't remember your name. There's so many people on here, in and out. I can't remember who mentioned it. Andrew has the D3 on order, the Dwarf 3. Um, I think Kevin, for me, and I'm not an expert. I've got the S50, and I'm not going to get the S30 yet. I am more interested in the Dwarf 3 at this point, and that doesn't mean I'm not happy with the SeeStar S50. It's fantastic. It really is fantastic. But for the same price point or a near the same price point, the Dwarf 3 is something I'm really interested in. So we are now what 42, 43, 40, 44 pictures in on the California nebula here. Yeah, so that's 42. Was it 42, 43, 45 in? Are you doing you mentioned you did a mosaic on this last night, right, Scott? Hey, Nur, if you're still on there, do you have a SeeStar S50? Oh, I thought you mentioned you had. Okay. Speaking of my dog, I've got to go let him out real quick. So excuse me just a moment while I run him outside. Okay, I am back from taking my husky outside. So let me catch up here. Um, Scott says I did the Eastern Vale, sent an email. Hey, awesome. I'll try to pull that up. Thank you. Go get it, Ron. Go get it. Let's see how we're looking here. I don't know if I've said any. I don't have any stack fails yet, it looks like. Pull that up if you don't mind here. Wow, that's pretty. Okay, so Scott sent me the Eastern Veil Nebula. Let's see if I can't share that with everybody. It's a pretty awesome picture he took there. I'll let him kind of describe it here. Give me just a second. Okay, so if everybody can see that. So that Scott was good enough to send this picture to me right now of the Eastern Veil, and that's 31 minutes of it. That's a pretty sweet picture. That's pretty sweet. And that was with no mosaic, is that correct? You didn't need a mosaic for that, I don't think. Correct? You could just take that with the regular SeeStar without the mosaic mode, I'm guessing. But that's outstanding. And you just edited that with that PS Express, it looks like, I'm guessing, right? That's really nice. It's very nice. Let me minimize that. Oops. Yeah, that's really nice. Don't, yeah, I didn't figure you'd need the mosaic for that, but that's really nice picture. So what are we in? We're in 72 exposures now in the California Nebula. Let's see how that goes for a little bit longer here. Tweaked it just a bit. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So Kevin, if you're still on, are you about ready to pull the trigger on one for yourself? I'll go back to Stellarium for a moment. We'll pull up NGC. See if there's any. I think it's really interesting to see if there's any satellites coming through, but I don't see any on here. This isn't too bad, I think, for the California Nebula for no more exposures than there are right now. So we're 60, 78, 80 exposures in. There we go. All right, hold on. I gotta let that dog back in here. Okay, I'm back. I've got to let. I've got this husky I've got, and he's got to be let outside periodically, or he's gonna get really rambunctious in the house. So yeah, it's looking pretty good, I think, here for just what is that, 90 exposures in. Here's the Stellarium view of it, and here's our live view of it on the SeeStar and G-Force. Our friend in Wisconsin is asking, anybody try other galaxies yet other than Andromeda? And Scott's saying he's done a few galaxies, M104, the Sombrero, and M33 are two others that popped in my head. So in mosaic mode for me, the only thing I've done is Andromeda, but I have done uh, Dumbbell, Whirlpool. I think those are the two that come to mind. Yeah, the Dumbbell and the Whirlpool are the two that I've tried, and they look just as good as anything else that I've seen anybody else do on the SeeStar. Hold on just a moment, and I'll show you. So here is on Facebook. There's somebody with the veil, and Bubble. I'm kind of looking to see what's going on right now. Other people out there. Scott, Kevin says yes, but SeeStar website's teasing with a news. Dwarf 3, I don't know. I thought it was more capable than the S50. Bigger lens, could be months. Helix Nebula incoming, hopefully awesome. Um, Kevin, I can only speak for myself, but the Dwarf 3 really intrigues me here. I think some of the videos I've seen, the pictures you can get might be slightly better with the chip on the SeeStar. I don't know, but the Dwarf equatorial mode really intrigues me here. And then you're right, it may be next spring before I get it. And then Ron says heat incoming. Scott says, Ron, if you haven't done the Helix before, you're gonna love it. Awesome. And Ron says I'm stoked. So yeah, I haven't tried the Helix yet either. Let's see what else we got here. Let's see, there's Pleiades. And there's one everybody's doing. That's like obligatory. They even say it there, 31 Mosaic. There's the SeeStar from High Point. And there's the C2023 Atlas satellite. The Rosetta Nebula. Sol Nebula. See, these are all tonight. Pictures are doing right now tonight, folks around the world. There's somebody asking about the Mosaic mode and EQ. The Carina. Orion's such a ubiquitous one to take a picture of as well. It's easy to get a great picture of that. I just ordered this thing and see the app requires 6 gig of RAM. Is this actually the case? I don't have any device that has 6 gig of RAM. I'm not sure what that means. They're saying the S50 requires 6 gig of RAM. I just don't think that's true. I don't know what they mean by that. Needs 6 gig of RAM. I don't think that's true, is it? I don't know what that even means. I'm not sure what they're asking. So somebody here, it says, my phone has 8 gig of RAM. It's about 4 or 5 years old. I have 8, so they're asking for the app to be what it takes to run. And they're saying it needs 6 gig. There's somebody's, they're doing the California Neb. They did that 3 hours ago. I think we've got that beat here already. And what's that doing? Looks like they got wind issues, so they're putting it inside of a box. And there's from French Polynesia doing M42. 4 hours ago, M42. And they're in Bortle 7. There's a fantastic picture. So there we go. There's what's going on in the Facebook crowd right now. I'm just locking up left and right here. I'm sorry. I know I'm my bandwidth just sucks. I've got to be locking up on you guys left and right here. That's looking really good though. What are we, about 180 pictures in? Is that right? 120 some. Not believe. I'd be curious if somebody else can tell me. Can they tell? Is that on or off? I'd be curious. 'Cause again, I'm colorblind, so I don't know for sure. But seeing how it looks the same there versus focus, autofocus, those look exactly the same to me. I can tell those are lighter. I wonder if that's not off right now or not. I just don't really know. It's off. Thanks, Andrew. Thank you, Ron. Looks like it's doing pretty well though without it. Not even on. So if I can get rid of that Chiron at the bottom, that's probably driving people nuts here. I forgot to turn that off. Let's see. Oops. I'm playing around with the software. I'm jacking it up here. I just don't know how to turn it off. There we go. I don't want anything on there. We'll leave it go like that. Okay, that's good. All right. Sorry, I had to ignore in the chat there for a moment. It says I'm stoked. Off, off, off. Scott says I'm on 116 into the North American Nebula. Still got about 45 minutes at least. And Scott Smith, mess with it. Best way to learn it. Yep, for sure. Yeah, you probably had to blow out a pretty wide mosaic for the North American Nebula, didn't you, Scott, to get as much in it as possible? Hmm. Gonna let this roll for a little bit. Yeah, you're going to be a while then. Just about as wide as you have to, or you absolutely go on it. Wish you could show your screen somehow. I just don't know how to do that on here. I don't think it's possible. Unless we were like on a Microsoft Teams meeting or something. I just don't think my software allows that here for what I'm using. I'm trying to think is there other streaming software that allows you to do that. It'd be kind of neat for people to show their screens like that. Just show what they're seeing. It's looking good so far. I am trying to keep quiet because my wife is sleeping. She worked 15 hours today. She's a circulator in a surgery center, so she's pretty tired. So I'm kind of trying to keep quiet as I can. Let's see. Let me go right back here. Andrew, did you say where you're from? I forget if you mentioned or not. I'm sorry if you did and I didn't catch it or I've forgotten. Yes. Let me see if I can find. Let's see. Let's get a map here. Yeah, so I'm right in here, right where that dot's at. I'm looking across the country here to see where all you folks are at and what kind of skies you may have right now. Yeah, so I'm in a pretty good spot right now. I don't know. We'll see. Get past midnight, what's going to happen here? Geoforce, I think you're kind of screwed. And NY Raider, looks like you're in the same boat. Scott, on the other hand, you're not looking too bad, my friend. I think you said you're down here somewhere. And I'm really curious where, if you're still on there, Andrew, where you're at. Oh, let's see, Scott. Now, okay, total understandable. Okay, gotcha. Let's go back to the picture here. We are now 2540 into it. I always test my math skills. How quickly can I do the math there, right? So those, if you're doing 10-second exposures, you get 6 per minute. We're 25 minutes in, so that'd be 120, 150, 155, right? That's 155 exposures, if my math's not failing me. It'd be really neat to see if you could line up here, like I'm Bortle 4. I'd argue, yeah, Bortle 4, and line up people across the country, different Bortle levels, start at the same time, and to see the differences in uh, how 10-second exposures stack and the differences between each Bortle area live. That'd be kind of cool to pull that off. I do not know how in the world to do that technically, though. It's enough for me to know how to do this, sharing my screen through this software I'm using, but I don't know how you do multiple shares at the time. If somebody on here is more technically minded than me, you'd impress me if you could show me how to do that or describe how to do that. I spend all my days doing consulting on Microsoft Teams online, and I know how to do one screen share, but I do not know how to do multiple at a time. I know it's possible. I just don't have the software to make that possible. I'm just envisioning, wouldn't that be cool as hell? You have that. So you have Bortle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up, and just stack them across. Everybody start the same time, and just see how it develops differently for everyone. Oh, I hate Windows so much. There we go. Yeah, that's way above my pay grade too, man. I don't know how to do that. It would be cool as hell, wouldn't it? It would be very cool. I turned my camera on, but I'm afraid my bandwidth is so crappy right now. Let's see. There I am. So there I am. I'm in my basement here. I don't want to take up the vision of that though. So let's turn that off. Go to this one. There we go. That's better. That would be neat. I'd love to figure that out. And then when somebody joins, they could, or not joins, but how you put them all together. No clue. I'm a hardware geek. You ought to know, Ron. You're a hardware guy. You ought to know. I guess this I guess that is a software issue though, isn't it? But that would be neat, wouldn't it, to be able to do that? Just everybody like 1, 2, 3, go, and have it be like a race to see what happens. Ron, did you retire and head out to Arizona? Or I forget what you said there, or did work bring you out there? I didn't notice, but this is not stacking. This is not mosaic mode, is it? Yeah, this isn't mosaic mode at all. I think I jacked that up. I messed it up, didn't I? I think I messed up, guys. I didn't realize till now. Huh. Huh. I can't believe I did that. You're disabled. That's right. I'm sorry you mentioned that. The cold in my back. Don't get. Oh, for sure. I understand that. Did I mess that up again on the mosaic mode there? I thought I had it right. Give it a second here. Feels like it'd be a nice enhancement for them to. There we go. Now I'm mosaic mode to maybe tell you a little more information here. Yeah, how did I not catch that? I feel like an idiot now. It would be nice if they'd indicate it was mosaic mode. I mean, you can tell it is now, but it'd be nice to see. I mentioned earlier, like for the current exposure, kind of have an outline of what it's doing or where it's at, so you can kind of see how it's going to build it out. Would be kind of a neat little enhancement. All right, so let's try it again. So we got 4 in there. So I'm curious on the logic of how it does this. I don't know enough about it. So it's taking 4 exposures and just stacking one over the other there. You can already see some of the nebula come up. Ah, damn it! I did. Yeah, I messed that up. Ron says I do miss Illinois in many ways. Lots of friends there. Not to mention my oldest son lives in Troy. Oh, okay. My former boss lived in Troy. He had a nice house there, and he'd drive up to Springfield every day for work. And we were working with HSHS, the hospital system, doing consulting, and he lived in Troy. And we worked at St. Elizabeth's a lot, and then he'd go up to Springfield a lot. So yeah, Troy's got that little Jack in the Box right off the interstate there. All right, so we've got a minute 20 in there. God, I can't believe I messed that up. Scott, when you're in Sky Atlas mode, how do you trigger the filter to go on? Am I missing that piece? So if I go back to the Sky Atlas and I want to turn on filter, where do you do that at? I think you're going to teach me something here. Being colorblind, I may have been missing out on something here. Yeah, lots yeah, lots of tacos from there. So that must make you a Cardinal fan out in Arizona then, right? Have to do it before you start the imaging, okay. Is it gonna be worthwhile? Should I bail out and how about we do it for our other folks that don't have the S50? I'm gonna bail out, Scott, and you wanna guide me through what to do here. So if I go back to Sky Atlas mode, um, where do I turn on the filter now? Or do I gotta bail all the way out from here? I swear before the mosaic mode, there's a different way to do it. No, you're not a Cardinal fan then, huh? Well, does that make you a Cub fan? That's the other question then I have for you, sir. So where am I missing that, Scott? Where do you do the filter in this mode? Do you do it right here? I have to go back to the main screen, like when I first select it or something. That down like that, maybe a little bit like that. Ah, okay, you don't do sports at all. Gotcha. I think if you go back to the imaging screen and stop it. Ah, okay, when you stop imaging, then it'll light up. That may be right. Let's try that again. Thinking about it. You okay? So I'll stop there is what you're saying. Then I click it on, right? There we go. Well, let's do it now. Thank you, sir. I remember that from before, but I think I had forgotten when you go to Mosaic, go to Sky Atlas, and I forgot to turn it on and off. So now I can definitely see that's a different color. Now, I don't know what color that is. I just know it's different than that. And I'm assuming that's probably green, right? There we go. Now we're cooking with gas. Let's see what it does now. See if it pops it out a little better. Yeah, I can definitely tell. Thank you for that because now I can definitely see the difference there. I was using the filter before Mosaic mode, and I think I mean I never was using the Sky Atlas before Mosaic, and so I knew that before I'd start imaging, you click that button, you'd be okay. Yeah, you can see it's a different color already. Yep. Yeah, so we're just 4 exposures in. You can already see that nebulosity popping out, and of course it's still 100%. So I'm really curious. Does anybody know if you leave that battery pack plugged in all the time, is that going to damage that SeeStar battery in the long run, or is it okay to do that? Because I guarantee if I go out there now, that battery, it's not even got a dent in it yet, and it's going to hold 100% all night long. And I'm a little concerned about what that might do to the battery. Do you need to drain the SeeStar battery? Is what I'm really saying once in a while, or get it way down to 5% or something. Look how big that circle is around the California nebula. Scott says sometimes it won't come on automatically. I believe if you choose something from the best, yeah, that I think that's what I was relying on is that when it shows that circle on the best tonight, that it would pop on when it needed to. But yeah, it is kind of a pain. There are little things about the software that kind of bug me, but I always tell myself it's 450 bucks or 499, whatever. This, I can live with those little issues that it has for the price point. But yeah, it's kind of a pain in the butt. Yeah, so it would have been really cool to do this again, right? I gotta figure that out somehow to have multiple people's screens up and make it like a little horse race here from different portal areas just to see the differences depending where you are and how quickly it starts to develop the picture or the image rather. My friend Andrew, he says, I've only used my SeeStar once. Prompts for the on, off, and leveling I wish triggered before initiating the image. Prompts for the filter on it. Yeah, I got that. And the leveling I wish triggered before initiate. Yeah, I get you. There's been a couple of times where in the middle of imaging, there I'll get a message on it says I need to level, and I think I attribute that to if I've got the tripod, especially my larger camera tripod, and I have that on in the middle of my yard. I think that just it rotating around and moves it just triggers it enough to get it out of image enough above 1.0 that you have to redo that. Um, Ron says, usually with lithium batteries, you need to discharge them about 5 times before they reach full potential. CWO doesn't say what type of lithium batteries they use, though. Ah, gotcha. Thank you. And then Kevin says, so if I set it beyond Wi-Fi range, can I download my image later or in the morning? So if you download it, so it's going to be on your the hard drive of the SeeStar. And then when you're done, you can bring it in the next day. You can connect it, and it's a hard drive that will pull up on your computer itself. So that's one way to do it, if that makes sense. And somebody else may have another way they deal with it, but that's what I usually do. Is I don't want to show you now. I could pull it up on my app there, what it shows when I go to my images. But bring it in, and that's what I do. I just plug USB in to the SeeStar into my computer, and then I get them that way. Anybody else chime in though if you got a preferred way that you're doing it or a better way to do it. So I have for Ron's comment there. Thank you for that. And I have, before I started plugging my phone battery into it, I just let the thing run all night and actually sometimes run out of battery. So it's discharged plenty of times for me. But since last weekend, using that phone charger, it's been 100% and not gone below it. And I just think, yeah, it makes me wonder, is that good or not? Ron asked, does anyone use the newer or similar leveling device? I highly recommend. Yeah, so I've got the Apertura uh, version of it, and I use it when I have it on there right now. So I've got it on the SeeStar tripod, and it's really, really nice when I put it on my regular my regular tripod that's much higher and built for my Canon Rebel. And Ron says he hooks up the same way. Kevin, I hope you got that. That sounds like Ron does it the same way I'm doing it. But that newer and that I yeah, I definitely use the new leveler. Use the newer level. So the newer is probably that was probably more economical than the one I've got because I bought I got I'll show you the one. Where's it at? I cannot type when I need to type. Where's that bad boy at? Give me this one. This is the one I got, but I think they're all the same, are they not? The uh the newer's pretty much the same thing, is it not? But it does make it so easy. When I first yeah, you get the newer one, I know. Um, this is the one I got, and man, before I had this, I felt like an idiot when, it'd take me several minutes to get it. I was trying to get 0, 0 just to do it, and, I'd feel stupid. Yeah, that's what I thought. They're just probably same vendor, they're just branding them differently. That's what I'm guessing, right? Uh, but boy, yeah, now it's pretty simple. I've got it leveled, and I put it in the same spot on my sidewalk, so I haven't even leveled it. Oh, Ron, you're showing me up. I think I paid a little more than that. Yeah, I paid 39 from these guys, right from High Point. So I should have got the newer one. But I didn't even I haven't leveled since last week sometime because I put it in the same spot in my sidewalk, and I haven't messed with the compass in that same period of time either. I think that holds its setting there, unless the battery goes dead, perhaps. And I do another great question, Kevin, or anybody who's newer to it, is one reason I really moved towards the phone charger or the phone battery to keep it charged was that um, humidity is so bad here, and having that lens fog over was kind of a pain in the butt. So turning on that dew element is pretty important. And I don't know how much quicker that drains the battery, but it sure seems it does. So I uh, I have that on all the time now, and I don't know what that does to the pixels, but Scott says I check level every time because it's easy now. Yeah, I do check it, but if it's like, you know, I did check it this evening when I put it out there, and it was like point 0.5, and I, spun one of the knobs on the leveler and got it to point 0.3 just that quickly. But I usually don't mess with it. It's right there, and if it's below, at first I'd always wanted to get 0, 0. I was going going for perfection and just trying to see if I could do it, but I really don't worry about it so much now as I used to. Need to get on, I'd get on Facebook and people would talk about, I'm doing it in less than a minute, and somebody would say it's taken me forever. And I felt like an idiot because at first it was taking me several minutes to get it level. Then I discovered it's really not that big a deal. Just get it, you know, I usually, I like it if it's point 0.2 or better, but it's point 0.5 right now out there when I set it up tonight when I checked. It is so easy now for sure. Okay, so we are, oh yeah, that's close enough for close enough for government work indeed, my sir. And we are now what, 42, 43 images into it. 43. We haven't dropped any either. There's no stack failures. I don't think I've had a stack failure since we started off earlier. What was the first thing we were doing? Was Andromeda? I think I had 3 stack failures with that, but I haven't had another one since. And that's been nearly 3 hours ago. So that's cool. Let's do this, make everything disappear for a moment. I'm thinking, Scott, that having that filter on, we're only 42, 45 pictures in. That nebulosity's popping a lot more now already, isn't it? That looks pretty good. Okay. Yeah. You remind me of, so I do consulting in hospitals for process improvement, and I'd sit in emergency room departments. Ron, for your benefit, I'd sit in that ER at St. Elizabeth's Hospital in the Metro East there, and I'd walk into an ER and I'd say, "It's pretty slow in here today," and those nurses would just throw me out of there immediately. They'd say, "Don't jinx us! Don't jinx us!" And I learned real quickly you don't ever send an ER because it's jinxing them. Scott says, yes, it does seem that, yeah, it's popping a lot more really easily, right? And I can tell even colorblind, I can tell I see all that in there and there. popping out really easy there. And there was much rejoicing. That sounds like a Monty Python line. Is that what that is? Ah, you were born at St. E's. Awesome. Yeah, I know a lot of folks there. Oh no, you don't. Oh, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. I don't know if they tore St. E's downtown or not, but when they opened the new hospital, I helped out making their emergency room go live as they started up that nice new hospital they've got out on the interstate. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes. Or use keyword quiet. Yeah, for sure. For sure. I bet you that's a common theme among people who are interested in astrophotography is they're probably at least familiar with Monty Python, if not very dedicated to Monty Python. Wow, this is looking really good. And I'm wondering, since I killed Stellarium Web, if it's helping my upload a little bit, or it's just getting later in the evening. It's 10 o'clock here in Starlink. I think it's a lot better the later you go into the evening here. Scott says retired firefighters. Yeah, same thing, right? Exact same thing. Yeah, I'm wondering, my bandwidth seems to be getting a little bit better here as I get into the evening. Let's check it out real fast. I am right now. So my upload, so I live out in the middle of nowhere, so I know you're probably not impressed with my internet speed, but this is Starlink. So that's pretty slow. Usually I'm 100, 125 to 150, but there's where I'm not doing well is that upload. And that's why I probably keep cutting in and out here. Not good, not good. Starlink satellite serves. But I imagine where I'm at, I'm probably sharing it with all of St. Louis, which probably impacts it a little bit. We're up to 12 there, but servers in Chicago, not St. Louis, that's using. Yeah, you're not impressed with that, Ron? That's pretty slow. Out here in the sticks, that's the best we can get. I'm guessing you're getting fiber, or you guys are probably all fiber internet where you're at, I'm assuming. Usually in the middle of the day, so I work remotely for consulting, and in the daytime my downloads, it's 170 to 180. But nobody's at home but me. But come evening from 7 to 10, I think it's pretty tight with all that. Like I said, you're yeah, well, that's the best I can get, so it is what it is. I missed it though when I don't know if my buddy G-Force is still there from Green Bay, but when we were up in we did consulting up in Appleton, my wife and I, for hospitals up there, and I was blown away when I think we had AT&T or some kind of fiber internet, and it just blew me away. It was like so much faster than anything I've ever seen in my life. But yeah, I kind of feeling now I'm horse and buggy back to it. Uh, Ron says, I wish no fiber in my. We do have a 2 gigabyte line though. Yeah, that's got to be great. You wouldn't. I wouldn't be cutting out on parts of this. I'm assuming if I had that. So we are now. I don't think I've seen any stack fails, but we're now 66, 69, 60. Was that 69 pictures into it or exposures? It's looking pretty good. I think I'm gonna just let this go all night. So for you guys who may have more experience than I've got here, with the mosaic, it seems like the field rotation, at least it doesn't appear to be as big an issue. Damn, 2 GB with fiber, without fiber. Yeah, that's pretty nice. That is pretty nice. But have you guys had any issues with field rotation since, or with mosaic? Because I'm trying to think how it's dealing with that, how it's stacking the mosaics, how it's moving around here, right? And is that kind of masking the field rotation, or it's because it's still rotating the sky, but it doesn't seem you don't have that big blocky square that you'd see before, that rectangle before. I haven't seen it in any of my images that have gone for hours and hours here. Let's see, 12:30. I'll go over here. Oops. Let's see. Okay, good. Let's see. What's it say here? Ron, no help here. I haven't played with it. And then Kevin says, Jew, you're losing me there, my friend. I'm not sure what that means. And then Scott says, I'm still going through with puberty with mosaic, but I do think it helps with field rotation. I'm glad, I'm glad I kept reading that. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me why it would help with field rotation, but it sure does. You just sure don't see that the rectangle like you would before for something really high in the sky as it goes through the night. Kevin says, I have fiber waiting to get hooked up at my house and I can't wait. Yeah, I'm a little jealous of you there, my friend. I'm a little jealous. I am not going to get fiber out where I'm at. Kevin, where did you say you live, if you don't mind me asking? And if I already asked that, tell me. I already told you 3 times, man. Okay, 14 minutes now. Scott says probably because it's moving. Yeah, that's what I thought too. But I'm still thinking though, maybe it makes it easier to stack because it's spreading it around with the mosaic as it goes through the night, if that makes sense. Maybe. I wish I knew more about that. Ron says, I'm sorry, Scott. I started reading and thought, gee, this is to be honest, I did too. When I read it said, I'm going through puberty, I stopped reading and I thought, oh boy, here we go. Then I read the rest. Oh, that's great. All right, so we're doing, it really looks like California, doesn't it? Look at that. It's looking good. All right. Let's see here. Okay, let's see. I missed a little bit of the chat there. Scott, it's Friday night and he's getting too it's getting too personal in here. Sleep deprivation. Man, you started it. You're the one that said puberty. So it sounds like Scott, you're a retired firefighter. Ron, you're in a more hospitable climate for your health concerns. And I don't know if my buddy G Force is still in here or not, or New York Raider. I haven't heard from those folks in a little bit. They may be on here, but not paying attention to the chat. It says Scott says, "Ouch, you win, Ron." He's been awake since 11:30 last night. Wow, I've been up since about 3 o'clock this morning. I'm an early bird by nature, and I was out messing around with the SeeStar last night. And then Ron says, "As long as we don't mention Monty Python or Blazing Saddles, I'll be okay." Yeah. Did someone say Blazing Saddles may be the? I would advocate that Blazing Saddles maybe. I don't know. I would say it's the best comedy of all time. I'm trying to think what might be better than Blazing Saddles. What comedy is better than Blazing Saddles? Ron says retired computer tech. Okay, thank you for that. Yeah, I haven't seen Blazing Saddles in a little while, but boy, it sure is. I'm hard pressed to think of a better comedy than that, or a better movie than that. Where's the White Dwarf stars at? Yeah, anything with Gene Wilder. Yeah, with Terry Garr dying recently, makes you think of Young Frankenstein, right? I'm trying to think, what's a better comedy than that? You know, I'm a simple guy, and I would say that maybe The Jerk with Steve Martin, but that's not Blazing Saddles quality at all. That's not that level, but that was pretty good. Scott says, "Thank you. I'll see myself out on the White Dwarf." Yep. Sad she had MS. Yep, for sure. Roll, roll, roll. Oh God, that's great. What is a better comedy than those? You know, there'd be some newer ones that I think are pretty good. Like, I think of some of the early Adam Sandler movies were pretty good. So Happy Gilmore, though that was pretty good, I thought. But then his movies kind of went a different direction on me and weren't nearly as funny. But I mean, there's just nothing Blazing Saddles quality anymore. And you couldn't even make Blazing Saddles today, right? Put the candle back. I mean, can you imagine trying to make Blazing Saddles today? There's no way. There's absolutely no way they allow it. There's no way it would be allowed. I think of some of the stuff from Seinfeld. There's no way you could get away with that today in production. And forget about MASH. If you're a MASH fan like I was back in the 70s and 80s, there's no way you couldn't do it. They couldn't make movies like those. There's no way. There's no way they'd allow it. I mean, every scene in Blazing Saddles wouldn't make it. Think about the scene when they're in the cafeteria at the studio at the end. They're going through Yankee bean soup, or was it Yankee bean? I forget what all it was, but wow, those are classics. Spaceballs, yeah, that's another favorite. Fantastic stuff. Back in the day, I would have said the movie Office Space was pretty good. I don't know if that's held up to time very well, though. I think for a character named Spear Chucker Jones, no, Spear Chucker would not go over very well from, yeah, MASH, the original MASH would not go over very well at all today. Or, um, gosh, not to climb too far out on a limb here and get in trouble here, but I mean, the whole character of Klinger, how would that play over today? Office Space is your day job. Yeah, it kind of is. You got those TPS reports to fill out, Andrew, huh? And you have the 8 bosses. You got it all, right? Yeah. Funny that's pass on that cake, Milton. Pass it on. Andrew, I can relate. I'm a consultant, and I've just about had it. And this is my last consulting job, and I'm going to step out and retire after that. I'm kind of done with it at that point. I'm so tired of just so tired of that. Everything that comes with corporate America today. I'm finished with it. So I'm going to step back and retire next year in about August. I'll be at that age where I can do that. Milton in your stapler. How we looking? It's slowly starting to develop. And again, this isn't. I don't really know. I think I know the California Nebula is supposed to be kind of red, is it not? Naked Gun's a great one too. No, those are all good. Those are right up my alley. You're probably an airport fan too, I'm guessing, right, Ron? Don't call me Shirley. Kentucky Fried Movie. So it's safe to assume Step Brothers is another fave. Yeah, that's probably a good one too. Um, oh, I missed a couple there. Sorry, Ron. I love the Naked Gun movies also. I guess I'm drawn to absurd comedy. Step Brothers is another. That's a fantastic movie. That's absolutely fantastic movie. That reminds me. Talladega Nights is a great. That's just a great comedy as well, right? And then Kentucky Fried Movie. Andrew says I work for the second largest town in the United States. Second, so you work for second largest town is Los Angeles, right? And then Ben, you bet. And then Scott picked a bad night to quit. Yes, great lines. So you work for the city of Los Angeles, Andrew? Yeah, I'd say despite listing all those, to me, okay, you're differentiating between city and town. So what's the second largest town in the U.S. then? What would that be? While I'm waiting on that reply, I would say that I have I'm still hard pressed. Blazing Saddles would still be the best comedy of anything we've listed in my humble opinion. There you go. Now you're Adam Sandlering it from a whole different movie. Cary, Illinois? Andrew, is that Cary, Illinois? Oh, there we go. The mosaic shot down here, finally. Oh, and okay, North Carolina. Now, I do not know North Carolina very well. I've flown into Raleigh for some consulting I did years and years ago, but I don't know if I know exactly where Cary's at. I'm guessing you might have pretty good skies, right? Yeah, somebody'd have to. Prove to me that Blazing Saddles is not number one comedy. So what kind of Bortle skies do you have, Andrew? Oh, you're in the triangle, right? Okay. You serve water to them. That is that airport, that Raleigh Durham airport, that's one of the nicest airports I've ever been to. Isn't that the one where they don't they have like a like a Orville and Wilbur Wright's airplane hung up in the walkway there, if I remember correctly? It's a really nice airport. It's easy to get into and out of, if I remember correctly. It's been a long time since I've flown out of there or in there. I would rate that airport in probably top five in the country for me anyway. From the ones I've been to, is just a nice airport to get in and out of. Let's see, 22.5 right now. What other comedies? So I mentioned The Jerk. That's one of my favorites. You're a five at your house for your Bortle. That's not too bad then. That's not bad. How'd you do with the hurricane there, Andrew? Did that bypass you, or did you get some of the effects of it? I know it was way west of you, but did you get any of the impact of it? Yeah, very convenient airport. I think my favorite airport. We're talking favorites here, huh? So favorite movie, Blazing Saddles. Favorite airport for me would have to be oh gosh. I mean, easy, and to me, it's easy to get in and out of. You don't have to worry about a lot of getting on. You know, like not like Atlanta. That's like one of the worst airports I've ever been in, or LaGuardia. But I'd rate Raleigh Durham right up there. But Indianapolis is a damn easy airport for me. I'd rather fly out of there than anywhere else in the Midwest. You just got some rain, nothing serious. Good, good. Glad you didn't experience some of the really nasty stuff that occurred to the folks farther west in North Carolina. This is looking really good. We're 23.5 into it now. I'm speaking in hushed tones because my wife, she's a circulator, she's a nurse in a surgery center, and she worked like a 15-hour day, so I'm trying to be quiet for her to sleep. Scott says, all I need is a SeeStar and this solar filter. All I need is a SeeStar solar filter and this Badinov mask, and that's all I need. That's all I need in this chair and this ping pong paddle, and that's all I need. Fantastic movie. They're trying to kill these cans. Oh, great movie. Ron says it's watching some of the Blazing Saddle reaction videos on YouTube. So many people get offended. They feel, yeah, you're exactly right. I was watching some of those recently, and some of those folks that do music reaction videos was watching Blazing Saddles, and they were just speechless. They had no idea how to react to it, and it is very sad because exactly they have no idea who Mel Brooks is or what he was trying to do. They just don't get it, and that's lost on so much of society today, and that's really sad. They're trying to kill these cans. And what was the name of Navin's invention? It was the OptiGrab, wasn't it? The OptiGrab for his glasses. Yeah, it's really sad. Very sad. I mean, there's parts that, you think about with even with Monty Python that I think they're shocked that where comedy, how much comedy is not allowed or is not correct in it today based on some of the stuff you'd see in some of the Monty Python flicks. That just wouldn't be allowed either today. Uh, let's see. It's looking good, looking good. Yeah, the Opti grab, and then you had to write all those checks at the end. Everybody came. Yeah, John. Yeah, I've seen that. John Cleese has talked about that. That he's just shocked, and Seinfeld has too. He's spoken up about it. And it makes you gain respect for guys like that. And same with God. Who's the other comedians that have really spoken up about it? I mean, of course, Rogan and some of those guys. Scott, yep, absolute classic. I think my favorite line from uh, from that would be when Michael Palin looks up into the castle and he says, "Is there anybody else up there we could talk to?" It's one of my favorite moments in that movie. Andrew says, "I got to see Jimmy Carr earlier this year. Being British, I think he gets away." Yeah, you're probably right. Yep, you're probably right on that one. Yeah, I talk to a lot of people and they wonder, are we coming to a kind of a turning point with how bad all that's gotten, and is it going to go back the other way? I don't know. When all the work I do with corporate America, boy, it's a lot of that stuff's pretty strong. It's really, really strong, and I don't know that it's. I don't know. I hope it goes back the other way, but for my kids' sake, especially, I really hope it does because I don't really relish the future for a lot of what they're going to face. Um, yeah, class, classic line at the beginning of that movie, right? They're sitting in the mud and they walk by. Yeah, I'm trying to. Yeah, is that the best scene of that entire movie? Oh my God, there's so many great lines in that movie too. I need to watch that. I haven't seen Holy Grail in a long time. I'm trying to remember the first time I showed it to my kids, to my boys, and the scene where they end up in what's the castle? What's the name of the castle where all the women are in there? Gosh darn it, it's been a long time since I've seen it. And my kids were just young teenagers at the time, and I forgot all about that scene. And here you, got, you got all these topless women trying to keep. Was it Dust? Was it Sir Lancelot there? I have to say, some of my favorite there would be uh, some of the songs are just all so fantastic. He turned his tail and ran. He ran away. Excuse me. Yeah. I mean, everything in Hollywood just rejuvenated or recirculated something that has already been done. You know, I'm a real geek, so I listen to old time radio. I mean, I'm talking like sci-fi stuff. So Dimension X, stuff like that, X minus one, and some of the stuff they did then, they really were groundbreaking in what they did in entertainment. And when you listen to some of that stuff on Spotify or wherever or on YouTube, you really see where Hollywood got a lot of their ideas from. It's just rejuvenated stuff that a lot of those folks who did those sci-fi radio shows, they really invented it. And it's amazing. You listen to some of that stuff, like the basis for the internet, yeah, that's it. Castle Anthrax. Thank you for that. Yes, Castle Anthrax. Yeah, I mentioned airport. I guess yeah, airplane. That's an awesome movie as well. Yeah, thank you for that one. And I forgot what I was saying. Dang it, man, I'm getting old. Oh, the old time radio shows. They are they're amazing. Like X minus one and Dimension X. I think I've heard just about every movie that is sci-fi. I can almost see like they just plagiarize stuff from the old time radio shows, like the beginning of the internet, or even like like the Borg from Star Trek, all that stuff. All that stuff's there. It's just you know it was it was pioneered by a lot of those guys back then with um what's the one, gosh darn it, who's the author, not Arthur C. Clarke, who's the author that wrote like Dune. Yeah, War of the Worlds brought, yeah, for sure, with Orson Welles. Who was the guy that wrote about Mars? It was a, god darn it, which is the radio show. Hold on, I'm gonna Google it like I'm really smart here. Oh, yeah, that's it. Fantastic listen to here is this one. I'll show it real quick here in the chat. And I just love old time radio, but this is Mars is Home, or Mars is Heaven. And it was written by, what's his name? I can't remember now who inspired it, but that's a fantastic Edgar Rice Burroughs. Yeah. Frank Herbert, Authenticity's Long Gone. I used to listen to CBS Radio Mystery and the Radio. It makes yeah, CBS. So that was like Edgar Bergen, right? With CBS Radio, I think. Uh, if you've never listened to like X minus one or Dimension X, they're fantastic. They're absolutely fantastic, and a lot of it predicts stuff that's happening today. Uh, for instance, there's one where of course, back then, you're talking the 40s and 50s. People really thought that uh, Mars was a big deal. They thought Martians would invade. And so there's really great episodes of Dimension X, X minus one that deal with that. And one of them, it's really fascinating where uh, the Martians start to invade in different ways that manifest themselves in different, they take the idea in Hollywood movies today and they just steal from it, just plagiarize right from it, and with other sci-fi themed movies with the same, not with Mars, but just in ways how where we interact or aliens come in and take over. So nothing's new today out of Hollywood. It's all stolen from somewhere or borrowed chunks of it. The ones that I find fascinating is the ones that really predict the internet. They don't call it the internet, but they see it coming, and they talk about that world. It's just fascinating. I could sit there and I have listened to all the X minus one and Dimension X's. They're great, just fantastic for all that stuff. How we looking here on the California Nebula? We are now 185 exposures into it, and I don't think it's dropped any of them. So we're looking good still. And I think that filter's making a difference. World of Worlds freak people. Yeah, it really did, didn't it? Cool. It's cool to listen to it. And Orson Welles was just brilliant, wasn't he? I mean, he's just absolutely brilliant. It's funny to listen to him in different interviews and what he's done, what he did through his career, and then it was like on the Dick Cavett show in the '70s, and then his famous Mogan David commercial where he was drunk when he did the commercial. It was fantastic. But World of Worlds was brilliant in what it did, the impact it really had on society and in U.S. history was nothing to sneeze at either. Yeah, gosh, those episodes of, I'll type them in there. And you got assuming you guys have never heard of this, but they're just fantastic. Be a great thing to sit there and listen to while you're sitting there with your SeeStar. Dimension X and X minus one are my two favorites. Oh man. So you saw, yeah, that was the day with Dick Cavett, right? And he interviewed all the biggies back then, like probably the Smothers Brothers, and I think I'm probably a slightly different. I'm probably the tail end of the baby boomers, and you're probably more in the middle of the baby boomers, I'm guess. But so I was too young for Dick Cavett, but I watched a lot of it on YouTube from some of the famous interviews that he did. So how are we looking here? This is really interesting how it's doing it, how it's stacking this up. Man, I keep looking at Andrew, your comment there, authenticity's gone. It really is, it's just Hollywood's just crap. Oh, Ron, you're 50. So yeah, I'm not far behind you. I'll be 59 and I'll be 59 in February. So we're basically the same. You're probably the same class. Oh, there's my first stack fail. You're probably class of 83, right? You guys class of 1983? I was class of 84. So wow, we're all kind of right in that same group then. I don't remember Dick Cavett. And I was too young. You know, uh, gosh, I don't remember ever watching it. It's like I can barely remember the end of Vietnam as a kid, but I don't remember Dick Cavett show. I remember Tom Snyder, which would be a little later on, but I don't remember Dick Cavett just through YouTube. Yeah, so you guys were probably the year ahead of me in high school, I'm guessing, right? Yep, year 83, class of 83. Man, hard to believe how the time flies, right? How the years fly by. I've debated on I've I'm so holding off. My cousin is your age and he retired last year and I want to, I want to hang it up, but I I'm just waiting for I'm just waiting for 59 and a half and then I'm going to pull the trigger at that point. That's next summer for me. You remember the moon land? Wow, you got an awesome. Well, you got a year on me, so but I don't remember the moon landing at all. I think we all drank from garden hoses and left for sure. Had that different taste to the garden hose, but we lived through it, right? Yeah, it's funny you can remember, just how fast those years go by, and I look back and I think, man, it seems like it was just, I think it's like 1990 just yesterday. But time moves on, doesn't wait for any of us. So that looks really cool, what I'm seeing there. That's a flavor you do not forget. No, you do not. No, you do not. I was talking to my wife just for Halloween, and we were talking about when we were kids. My parents just turned us loose on Halloween and took off. And then with our kids, we didn't do it. We live in a small town, right? And we drop them off at the beginning of the block and pick them up at the other end or an old subdivision. But man, nowadays I don't know if I'd even do that. And I live out in a pretty rural area. I don't think I'd drop kids off at all for Halloween. It's just everything's changed. But man, I remember taking off right after, as soon as it got dark on Halloween, we'd take off. We wouldn't be back till 10 o'clock that night, and that was a school night. Okay, Scott. Hey, thanks for your time. It's really a pleasure to have your pretty snappy repartee on here. It's really enjoyable to get to know you virtually anyway. So it's time for you to grab the SeeStar and hit the sack. Have an absolute blast tonight. Glad I found the channel. Yeah, really, it's really a pleasure to meet you. And for honest, I'm probably going to hang it up here too in a second. And I hope my bandwidth isn't always going to be an issue like this. But I really love to connect with folks and learn from each other here. It's especially for me. I live in such a remote area. There's no astronomy clubs or anything like that. So this is a great way for me to interact with people. I mean, I could drive up to the University of Illinois or somewhere like that, but it's so far to go. So yeah, you did the same thing. I'm probably going to cash in and go outside for a little bit. It's so clear out there. I might go out and just kind of sit out for a while. So I'm probably gonna rock and roll here too. So everybody on here, thank you so much for jumping on, and we'll try to do this maybe again sometime. And it's great to meet you too, Ron. And who else was on here? And Scott and Andrew and G-Force. I think he had a bail. And I'm NY Raider. A lot of great folks here, and really enjoyed the interchange with you. Have a good night, and maybe we'll match up again here sometime. Appreciate getting to know you folks. Stay safe.